Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. My name is, of course, the Battle Room. And today I'm joined by this guy over here who's going to give you some replica teams, and he's going to allow you to start using some very cool Japanese replica teams that I've been seeing all over Twitter and on the ladder lately. I wanted to give you some options. I think the Japanese players are very, very good. They're very talented at Pokemon, and they post some really, really good teams. They're very open in sharing their resources because they just want to share them. Like, I don't know, it's so weird. They're very unselfish. So I have 5 really, really cool Japanese teams that will help you climb the Pokemon Champions ladder. And I think they're relatively easy to use. And I'm going to break them down for you, hopefully, so you understand what all the pieces do so that you can hop on the ladder yourself and start laddering with them. So without further ado, let's check out these teams. I don't know how I got into the Pokemon Showdown team builder, but I'm stuck here. I think the only way out might be subscribing. Please subscribe and please enjoy these teams. So the first team I have for you is a Mega Staraptor team. Grimmsnarl and Staraptor is a very, very deadly combination, and it proves it here. This team recently got 75th in that online Japanese tournament that took place. Now you might be saying 75th. It's not very good. This team went 17-3 in the tournament. That tournament was ridiculous. You had to finish basically 20-0 to win the entire thing. So 17-3 is very, very good. I'll link the creator down below, as I will with all these teams, but this team is built around this Staraptor Grimmsnarl combination. But what I think is really, really cool is that Grimmsnarl also functions incredibly well with Archaludon. Archaludon loves Grimmsnarl, he loves Sinistra, so pairing that Sinistra with Staraptor and Archaludon just makes a lot of sense on this team. So we have those combinations, right? The Grimmsnarl is very, very simple. He's got his signature attacking move and Spirit Break that lowers your special attack, Parting Shot to enable our Staraptor, and then those screens to get going. If you look at the spread here, he's mostly just trained physically defensively, but with a special attack or a special defense boosting nature. Now, one thing you'll notice as well that I think you kind of need to run on Grimmsnarl is minimum speed, so that when you Parting Shot, if you're fighting against an enemy Grimmsnarl and they have a Sun Setter, you can Parting Shot second to bring in your Rain. So having that minus speed is very, very important. The Staraptor is actually trained also really offensively here. It is a max attack Jolly Staraptor. The moveset's pretty simple: Close Combat to give us our boosts, right? With Contrary, we actually do get those boosts. Brave Bird for that big damage. Roost to heal ourselves, and then Protect. Politoed is pretty crazy. Politoed is an insane throw on here, but I think it's kind of neat. Parasong is actually a very, very cool move for those end games. If you get a Pokemon advantage, you bring in Politoed, you press Parasong, and you're having a great time, right? So I think Parasong is a cool move to throw on Politoed. Politoed also just hits like a truck with Weather Ball. Obviously, it's not trained very offensively, but Weather Ball is just so strong. Such a great move. Hypnosis is a little cheesy, but at the same time, if you were to get a Hypnosis, if you land this move, he's very hard to KO. He's very bulky. If you land this move, it could be a game winner, right? And then Archaludon is going to be trained very specially defensive with that HP. I love this spread. I think this is the best way to use Archaludon. So you pair Archaludon with the Politoed, with the Grimmsnarl, with the Sinistra, and he can turn into an absolute raid boss. Flash Cannon is going to be your steal coverage. Dragon Pulse is that consistent dragon move, which is super valuable in Archaludon. And then Electro Shot, our signature move in the rain, to just get Archaludon going, to just win those games. Nothing too much to say about him, just spam Electro Shot. Then we have Sinistra, who's really cool on this team because it does help our Perish mode a little bit, because we can heal Politoed, keep that guy safe. We can set up Staraptor, we can heal Staraptor, heal Archaludon. We have Life Dew as well. And then we also have Trick Room. Trick Room is a very, very cool move, especially with our Mega Mawile here. Mega Mawile is a Pokemon that you don't see a lot of, but I feel like on Rain, and specifically with Cine, with those screens, Mega Mawile can go nuts. I think having Rain is super valuable because one of Mega Mawile's biggest issues is, of course, Charizard. But we have Rain, we have Staraptor, we have Archaludon. This seems like a very, very good team for Mawile to shine on. So I think this is a really cool 6 Pokemon. You know, your main goals are obviously going to be just setting up either Archaludon or Staraptor and just trying to trade better than your opponents. The team itself is very, very simple, but I think it's very effective at what it does. You have very, very fast Pokemon, and if you're not fast enough, you just have so much overwhelming bulk with both the screens and the Cine, and even the Archaludon with leftovers. It's just super hard to kill. Obviously, max special defense, max HP with stamina, he can start to really take over games, which I think is a very, very cool and strong, effective spread. I didn't talk about Mawile's spread or Cine's, but they're just trying to deal as much damage, or Mawile's trying to deal as much damage as possible, and Cine's trying to take those flying moves as well as it can. I also really like the choice of Koba Berry on Cine, just because it helps into the Rain Mirror with Pelipper. But yeah, this team seems really fun to use, and I think it's a little bit of a different way to use Staraptor currently. So the next team I have for you was built by Arubega. For those who do not know, Arubega is one of the best builders in the entire world. They actually built the 2024 World Champions team, posted it on Twitter, and then the World Champion ended up using it and ended up winning with it. So he's obviously a very, very talented builder, very, very good player as well. Recently, he went 10-0 in the Victory Road tournament, finished in, I believe, like top 8, top 4, did very, very well in the tournament in an open sheet format, but he was using Swampert. So this team does unfortunately have Floette, which kind of sucks. Floette is annoying to get, but I still wanted to cover it because I think it's such a cool team, especially with Swampert. So the first Pokemon we have is actually Whimsicott. Whimsicott is a Pokemon you don't normally traditionally see with Swampert, but I think paired with Floette, paired with these other Pokemon, it's a very, very cool Pokemon, especially with this Life Orb Pelipper as well. Coba Berry is obviously going to be there because Sash is on Basculegion. So the moveset on Whimsicott is pretty simple. Moonblast obviously is your main stab. Tailwind gives you that speed control. Encore allows you to make them do the same move. It's very, very good, very broken, and Protect obviously to keep Whimsicott alive. The spread is just defensive as possible. You want to try and take those hits as best as you can. And since we have no Focus Sash, we don't get to cheat and run a lot of damage. Swampert is going to be Wave Crash, Earthquake, Ice Punch, Protect. Pretty simple set as well. Swampert is going to obviously be able to Earthquake Whimsicott, Earthquake the Pelipper, try to do as much damage as possible. He has his double stab moves, and then Ice Punch is great coverage. He's just fast. 93 speed is pretty solid. In Tailwind and also in Swift Swim, super valuable. You do need to be a little bit fast to make Swampert shine. Max attack to try and get the most out of our Swampert. The Life Orb Pelipper is pure sauce. Life Orb is a crazy pick on Pelipper, but at the same time, this isn't a defensive Sinestro Grimmsnarl Swampert team. This is a aggressive, deal damage, and try to win as fast as you can with Tailwind or Swift Swim, right? So this Pelipper is all about the damage. Life Orb with that Hurricane is going to do insane damage. Same with Weather Ball. It's going to be an absolute nuke. Obviously, you're going to need Protect because you have Life Orb now. You're not bulky. You don't have Citrus Berry. But at the same time, like Pelipper is still naturally bulky and it's still hard to remove. A lot of speed to try and abuse Tailwind as well. 104 is going to hit 208. So you're going to outspeed Pokemon like Delphox in Tailwind. Archaludon, we've talked about him before. Archaludon is so good. Max special defense, max HP makes a lot of sense. You want to try and get as much special defense as you can on this guy because his stat is so low. So if you max out those two stats, he ends up being pretty bulky. You pair him with the stamina ability and he's just unkillable. Draco Meteor is kind of an interesting choice because we do have Electroshot. We are raising our special attack and this is lowering it. But at the same time, it's just an absolute nuke. And the pacing of this team is trying to deal as much damage as possible. Flash Cannon is obviously good. Good Steel Stab, Electroshot is your signature move, and then Protect. The Sash Basculegion is actually really neat. I think Basculegion always pairs extremely well with Floette. I like Sash as well because it is hard to remove. You have to usually commit 2 moves to it, obviously, because it's a Focus Sash, and that can be too much in a late game situation when he is smacking you with Last Respects. So I've always been a fan of Sash. I like it here, even though it is a little bit weaker. Those liquidations aren't going to be doing nukes in the rain, but at the same time, it's okay. It's still a very good set. Last Respects is Last Respects. It's just train max, speed max, attack. Nothing crazy there. And then Floette is the last Pokemon. This is that really offensive Floette. Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Light of Ruin, and Protect. You're just trying to just do damage, right? It's just max speed, max special attack. You just pick which fairy move is more useful for the time being, and you just smack them with a Light of Ruin, smack them with a Moonblast, and you just deal insane damage. A very cool team that Arubega cooked. I think this team is sick. It went 10-0 in Swiss, so it did very well. Ultimately top cutting the tournament. The next team I have for you is actually a Froslass team. So this team also top cut that Victory Road tournament I talked about. And it's a Froslass Incineroar team with Goldengo. Goldengo is a Pokemon that I think is very strong, and I really like Goldengo on this composition. It's got Aurora Veil, it's got Fake Out, Intimidate, and also Incineroar has that amazing synergy with also King Gambit, right? And Froslass can help enable King Gambit as well. So I think this is just a very cool take on Froslass, and we're not seeing a lot of Froslass teams, so I wanted to cover this one as well. Froslass is a very unique and cool Pokemon. It's a very strong Mega, immune to Fake Out, and it has access to Aurora Veil, which is super valuable. It can change the weather, set up Aurora Veil. It just has so much going for it. So we'll start with Froslass. Blizzard, Shadow Ball, Aurora Veil, Protect. It's just been the best Froslass set for a very long time here. And you'll notice here, this one is actually very defensive in nature. It's a timid Froslass, max bulk, has actually a lot of defense as well. I think it's probably trying to live a Sucker Punch from a Black Glasses King Gambit. It definitely can do that with that bulk. No special attack is kind of crazy, but at the same time, there's not a lot of enemy Frostlasses going around, so like you don't really need to be max speed anymore. And yeah, I think it's just, you're kind of getting the most value out of it. It's just supposed to be very bulky and rely on its natural high power blizzards or just the super effectiveness of Shadow Ball. Incineroar is next up. I think Incineroar Froslass is a really good combo. It was something I was testing a lot before NAIC. It ultimately fell off, but it just helps so much into Charizard specifically. Just having that safe, consistent swap option, Incin is just great. This one's going to be pretty defensive in nature, but also very, very speedy as well. Incineroar is pretty boring, but Parting Shot, Fake Out, Throat Chop, Flare Blitz. You got your double stabs, you got your utility with Fake Out and Parting Shot to switch you around. Citrus Berry, Incin, perfection. It's just the best item you can run on him, so I am a huge fan of that as well. Golden is the next Pokemon, which is kind of interesting, but I think synergizes surprisingly well. It loves an Aurora Veil, it loves that extra bulk. It's actually really, really fast, but you know, still very naturally bulky. You pair it with Parting Shot, you pair it with Veil. It's just kind of going the distance. It also hits a very, very nice speed naturally. 149 is pretty good. It's outspeeding a lot of those slower Charizards, potentially Garchomps as well. So I think it's just kind of a cool cool speed stat to hit, and it's going to try to do as much damage as possible. Now, obviously, Golden did get nerfed, but Make It Rain is still its best move. You pair that with Shadow Ball, which you actually find yourself spamming quite a bit, and then Nasty Plot to get boosted. Obviously, pairing that with Aurora Veil and Fake Out, it's very easy to set that up, and then Protect to keep him alive. Next up is Mystic Water Basculegion. Basculegion has always been Frostlass's best friend. This is actually a triple ghost team, which is really crazy now that I'm saying it, but Basculegion's done great with Froslass in the past. Setting up Aurora Veil makes it really hard to KO. You'll notice here it's very, very offensively trained, trying to deal as much damage as possible with those Rave Crashes. And then what's really nice about Aurora Veil is it just makes Basculegion's natural bulk even more insane. So even though we don't have much bulk, we do have enough to live a Sucker Punch from King Gambit. We still just have amazing, amazing damage. And bulk, like with Aurora Veil. So it's a very cool, it makes a lot of sense paired with Froslass. Then is King Gambit. This is a Swords Dance King Gambit set. Kowtow, Sucker Punch, Swords Dance. It's very simple. Double dark moves. One's a priority move, one's not. You set up those Swords Dances and you go nuts. We have Fake Out to enable that and Aurora Veil. You just kind of pick which one you want. I think the team is pretty easy to play in like at a base level. You lead Fake Out plus one of your setup guys, you go crazy. You lead Aurora Veil plus one of your setup guys, you go crazy. Or you lead Froslass Incin, Fake Out, set up Aurora Veil, Parting Shot into the setup guy, go crazy. It's all just about really enabling your setup guys to sweep, whether that's King Gambit or Golden Go. You just pick based on which team you think, which one is better into their team. And then finally we have Rockhead Arcanine. I love this set. It's so much fun to play with. You take no recoil from Rockhead, so Head Smash and Flare Blitz normally would do so much recoil to you, do nothing. And then you have to break him with that Focus Sash, so you do have to hit him twice, which is super valuable. He matches up incredibly into Charizard, and then he has that good rock fire coverage that's just so strong in the metagame. He's obviously going to be max speed, max attack. He hits such a good speed tier as well. His biggest threat is obviously Garchomp as well, but you have a Froslass. You have Incineroar, right? Like, you can deal with it. So I think Arcanine Rock is just such a cool addition to the team, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So this team looks really, really fun to use, and I think if you're trying to look for a Froslass team in the current metagame, I think this is a really good option. Next up, we have a team from Spy Anya. Spy Anya is the Japanese national champion from 2024, and they created this really insane Pyroar Scarfty team. I featured a Pyroar Scarfty team on the channel, but this is their take onto it. They ended up getting up to 14th place on the current in-game ladder, which is really, really impressive and really, really good. So obviously it's proven itself time and time again. And this team is just very, very good. So the idea here is that Torkoal plus Farigiraf is very powerful. You can obviously set up Trick Room, start sweeping with Torkoal, go crazy, right? But what makes Torkoal really cool is that he's also amazing with Pyroar. If you pair him with Pyroar, he can spam Helping Hand, give the Sun to Pyroar, and Pyroar can just start doing insane damage. So I think it's just a really cool combination that not a lot of people see well, they see it coming, but they really have to decide, hey, am I countering Farigiraf or am I countering Pyroar? Like, which one am I seeing? What am I going with? And then I think Mega Scarfty adds a whole nother element as well, giving you basically a guaranteed setup in Trick Room. I think it's a very, very cool concept, and I think it's really hard to deal with because both modes are so potent. So we'll start with Furgraf here. Furgraf is going to be Psychic Thunderbolt, Helping Hand, Trick Room. One of my favorite movesets. It's trained very defensively bulky to try and live a Black Glasses Kowtow Cleave from King Gambit. So you run the Psychic, T-Bolt, Helping Hand. Psychic and T-Bolt are your main attacking moves. T-Bolt is just very good coverage in this metagame. There's not a lot of electric types. Helps with those water types as well. Helping Hand is going to power up Pyroar, power up Torkoal to do big damage. And then Trick Room is going to make the slower Pokemon moves first. So you pair that with something like, let's say, Scarfty over here, who's trained very bulky. He's got a little bit of speed, admittedly, but he's trained very offensively and bulky. He can press Fake Out. You lead him next to Furgraf, Fake Out Trick Room. Life is good. Life is happy. He's got really good coverage in this game. He's got Knockoff, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and Fake Out again. Knockoff is your Stab Dark move that removes items. Drain Punch keeps him healthy. I personally prefer Drain Punch to close combat. Ice Punch is very strong into dragons. It's just a good coverage, and Fake Out is going to make them flinch. Also, when he Mega Evolves, he intimidates them again, lowering their attack once from his regular Intimidate, Mega Evolving, lowering their attack again. So it's just a really good combination, and Trick Room is just all but guaranteed. Torkoal, again, is going to be our main disruptor here. He's going to be dealing damage. He sets up the sun for us. He is able to Helping Hand Pyroar to do big damage, or he can spam heat waves of his own. This one is actually not trained very offensively at all. It's very bulky, so our Trick Room mode is a little bit weaker. But at the same time, Torkoal's Torkoal. He can do a lot of damage and just be very annoying. Yawn is also a very cool utility move to pair with Pyroar, because Pyroar can protect. You can set up the Yawns, and then they have to make a decision. Do they try to kill Pyroar, or do they go to sleep, right? Like, kill Pyroar, go to sleep, or do they switch out? And I think Pyroar can capitalize on that amazingly. Then we have Sash King Gambit, who is trained max speed, max attack. It's a very good partner for Furgraf, actually, because you're able to threaten other King Gambits, get that Trick Room up a little bit easier, and just do crazy damage and play really recklessly with King Gambit. He's got double dark moves. Kowtow is your big strong dark move. Sucker Punch is priority. Low Kick is for those enemy King Gambits, and Protect is just good. I love max speed King Gambit. I've been such a fan for a while now. I used it at NAIC and it's felt amazing. Then we have Sneasler with Life Orb, which is really crazy and just something not a lot of people will see coming. It's obviously trained max attack, max speed to deal as much damage as possible while being as fast as possible. Close combat is going to be a nuke. Rock Slide is going to catch some Charizards off guard, and then Poison Jab is just a good poison move, right? You don't really want to run, well, it's got Poison Touch as well, and Poison Touch Sneasler is surprisingly very good. You wouldn't think it would be so strong, but it just pairs super well with Poison Jab, and it basically can set up a poison, and sometimes those poisons are enough to just win games, right? Like, if they're just too bulky or they intimidate you, you get the poison off, and then now, hey, Furgraf is slowly dying, right? I'm a huge fan of Poison Touch Sneasler. And then we have Pyroar. This thing is just pressing fire moves. It's kind of like Floette, but a fire type. You just deal as much damage as you can with the fire moves. He's trained max speed, max special attack. He's pretty boring, but he does so much damage, and it kind of functions on those two modes. What I love about this team is you can go Furgraf, Scarfty, Torkoal, King Gambit, or you could go Torkoal, Pyroar, Sneasler, King Gambit, and you have these two crazy modes that are kind of like really hard to call, and if your opponent doesn't get it correctly, you might just sweep them. So I think it's a really great team. It's kind of makes team preview a little bit easier. You just say, hey, do I think Trick Room's better here or Pyroar? It makes the game really easy to play, and I think it's a really good team to pick up if you're trying to learn how to play Pokemon Champions. So the final team I have for you is a team that was able to get 2100 on the current in-game ladder, which is pretty good, but also a variant of Big 6. I wanted to cover this team because a lot of people don't have Floette or don't have access to Floette, and this team actually found a way to remove Floette while keeping the really strong guys, and just it's kind of a different take on Big 6 because Mawile is very different. So the idea here, of course, this is the Big 6 team, is that it is just so powerful. It's got using all the best Pokemon. We actually also have Incineroar as well, which is kind of nice, but it uses all the strong Pokemon. You put on a ton of pressure offensively. You have speed control with Whimsicott, and you just do big damage. So Charizard here is going to be the standard moveset of Heat Wave, Weather Ball, Solar Beam, and Protect. There's nothing too crazy to say. It's almost always trained very defensively. I feel like the Charizards are always running even more defensive bulk right now to try and live the Life Orb, Garchomp, Rock Slide as best as possible. But Charizard, He's consistent, he's strong, he's spamming Heat Wave, and he's just being annoying, right? Pair that with Basculegion. Life Orb Basculegion is absurd right now. It does so much damage. Literally one of the best leads in the game is just Whimsicott, Basculegion. You threaten so much damage, you have Tailwind, and Life Orb just makes him better. If you thought you could live a Life Orb or a Mystic Water last respects, how about a Life Orb, right? Now he's actually boosting his Ghost move while also boosting his Wave Crash as well. It's just beautiful. I just love it. Basculegion is so strong, so fast. This one is actually going to be trained max speed, and then it has a lot of attack investment and then some bulk as well to survive Sucker Punch from King Gambit. Whimsicott is pretty boring. Tailwind, Moonblast, Encore, Protect. It's the standard moveset. I guess I should talk about Basculegion's moveset real quick. Wave Crash is your big water move. Last respects, every time a Pokemon faints, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's just dealing insane damage. Aqua Jet is just a great priority move, and then Protect is Protect. Whimsicott's moves are pretty simple. Tailwind doubles your speed. Moonblast is your stab, cut, fairy move, your only attacking move. Encore is so broken because you just put so much pressure on a lot of Pokemon, and then Protect keeps Whimsicott alive. Whimsicott is going to be trained max attack, max special attack, max speed because, hey, it's got a sash, so it gets to deal that damage. Next up is Roselli Berry Garchomp, which is really good. It keeps Garchomp alive. He's just going to be max speed, max attack, but it keeps him alive specifically against Floette and against Whimsicott, right? Like having that Roselli Berry is really nice because our Life Orb is on Basculegion. We are able to run that. So Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Rock Slide are your really good moves. It's just the best Garchomp move set. Earthquake is your stab ground move. You can Earthquake next to Charizard. Sometimes you can Earthquake your own Whimsicott as well if you need to. Dragon Claw is your dragon move. Rock Slide threatens enemy Zards, and then Protect is Protect. Now, since we don't have King Gambit and Floette, they kind of merge into Mawile, so that allows us to run Incineroar. Incineroar is always really good on Sun. Fake Out, Flare Blitz, Parting Shot, Throat Chop is just a really good moveset. Fake Out flinches, Flare Blitz does big damage, especially in the Sun, and then Parting Shot lowers their stats and then forces you to switch out, which just keeps him cycling. It's a great way if you've never played Incineroar. This is a great team to learn how to play Incineroar and to pick him up. Throat Chop is going to be your stab dark move. He's trained very defensively bulky, but he does have a lot of special defense as well. And then his speed, he has a little bit of speed to abuse Tailwind. Incineroar is just great with this type of team. Intimidate is super good with Charizard as well. It makes him live shit he should never live, and it just makes him even bulkier. It makes everybody bulkier, right? And then finally we have Mawile. Mawile is actually pretty neat because it does have enough speed to abuse Tailwind. It's actually really good in the mirror as well if you're able to get around the enemy Charizard, and we have lots of tools to do that. It's pretty frail. Like, you do have to respect that its HP stat's not going to be great. It's not bulky, but at the same time, it does actually nuclear damage. So this is a really good team if you've been interested in those big six, like, best teams in the game, but you don't have access to Floette. I think Mawile is a decent addition, especially paired with this Incineroar. It kind of makes the team a little bit different, but it's still a very good team, and you can still get the the taste of what it's like to play Big Six. But yeah, I think Mawile pairs really well with these Pokemon. It can do a ton of damage in Tailwind, and it just has enough speed to get the job done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope one of these teams is really sick to you and that you can start using it to climb in Pokemon Champions. Shout out to these Japanese players for sharing their teams. Without it, we wouldn't have a video here, and without it, we just wouldn't be as good as we are. I think sharing teams is such a cool and unique thing, and so I think that it's really just awesome that they're very transparent with them. But I hope you can continue your climb to champion tier, and I wish you luck, and I'll see you next time.